Hello everyone. I created this video today to introduce myself and to kick off my design series on YouTube. So the purpose of this series is to showcase a practical application of integrated circuit design. I feel like there are a lot of different tutorials out there, there's lots of books, there's lots of articles, but they don't necessarily all show what I view to be practical design. So that's not only design, but that also gets into the designer's mindset that they have to have when they're approaching their design. So that's something that I want to contribute to the community. So a little bit about myself, just so you know who's going to be speaking on these videos. I'm an IC designer by trade. I've worked for roughly 8 years in industry and probably have contributed directly to 20 or 30 chips. I've personally been involved within the tape out of 10 to 15, where I've been the ASIC lead on probably 80% of those chips. And in doing so, I also developed a significant amount of IP for various chips, and that's roughly between 50 to 100 different IP blocks, and to date those have all been considered to be first pass successes. So I want to share some of my mindset as it goes into analog design. So you may be able to develop the skill set required to be meticulous, to pay attention to the things that really matter, and ultimately improve your design skills in some way. The reason that I want to do this is because I'm very passionate about analog design. I love talking about it. I could talk about it all day, every day, and that's what I'm going to be doing starting now. So I hope that you take away a lot from this series. I know I certainly will. I've put together a few videos already, and in doing so, I have assessed some of my own views on design, and I feel like I have furthered those a little bit as well. So I hope the same for you. Some of the topics that I'd like to discuss in the upcoming videos are centered again around practical things, so such as systematic offsets, creating very robust designs. This is something that can be done with a ratiometric design approach. Then I'd like to talk about, designing simply. I want to talk about developing your ability to understand when a design is not going to be robust. You can start to look at different topologies within different articles online, and you will immediately be able to tell if it's something that's even worth your time or not. That's a learned skill. It takes time, but it can be done. I'd also like to talk about chasing down problems, right? So oftentimes you may have a problem in a large system, and you have to figure out exactly where that problem is, because it may be cyclical. You might have an issue in one area, but the problem actually is in a different area. So you need to be able to follow currents, essentially, to figure out where those problems truly began. Then I'd like to talk about my personal method for deriving and understanding specifications for the chip that you're working on. It's very important that even if you're not a lead, that you understand your specifications and that you know why they're derived the way they are. That gives you a handle on how to that gives you a handle on what the trade space is for this design that you may be working on. And something that I see a lot of designers fall prey to is ignoring the challenges that they face, right? So if you know that you've got a tape out coming up, they might be ignorant to that fact because they're stressed out, they've got this block to complete, but they're not really informing their lead that, hey, this isn't going to happen. You need to formulate a plan of attack and figure things out. So that's very important, something I want to talk about. Then risk tolerances, that's another big one, right? So there are always going to be trades in IC design, and one of them is risk. Sometimes you need to trade complexity or performance for risk. If you want something that's high yielding, then sometimes something else will have to give. I want to get into a few practical examples as far as quick and easy designs go. So like the typical Miller nulling resistor that we all know about, there are different ways to size that, right? You can use an analytical approach, but there is another method that I'd like to show a little bit in a later video. I'd also like to discuss being an effective ASIC lead. So I have personally seen a lot of different leads where I've worked. Some of them are extremely effective and capable, and some of them are not as effective, but they still get the job done. I've seen what makes an effective lead, and I've tried to adopt those methods and mindsets into my own skill set, such that I can improve being a lead myself. And I want to show what some of those values are, so you might be able to adopt them as well, and maybe it's something that can lead to discussion. I also want to talk about imposter syndrome. So this one is kind of important to me. I know that we all face imposter syndrome. It's something that's very real in our field, and the real reason I want to bring it up is because I just want everyone to know, you're not alone. This is something that we all go through, and really it just takes time and dedication to break through that barrier. I know I still feel this way as well, so yeah, it does exist. And lastly, I have lots of examples prepared. I just need to make these into videos that I can share with you, but I really want to show many different practical examples of circuit topologies that you might be able to one day implement within your own chips. So please stay tuned for upcoming videos.